Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's Digital Trends. I'm Neil Bentley, CEO and founder of WEBVID, and over there is...
It's James Mabbott, Creative Manager at WEBVID. Hello.
Very nice, yeah. Tell you what, it's becoming more slick, our handovers between each other. Do you not think?
It's as slick as a slip and slide, yeah?
Now, before we get onto some digital trends that James is going to be talking about this week, that actually is going to be kind of new to me as well as we discuss through them. I just wanted to do an update on where WEBVID is in lockdown after now almost, 9 weeks? 9 weeks since we...
Yeah, it's over 9 weeks now.
Wow. So we moved out and we put the team from WEBVID in their houses everywhere with all the equipment for us to be able to do various things from live streaming to illustration to animation. So we keep the company rolling. Now, of course, we're a digital company, so we should be able to do this if we're working in a digital world. What I was really concerned about, I've got to admit, before this all kicked off was the fact that I didn't know how severe this was going to be. And I also didn't know how that was going to affect winning work or working with clients or projects coming up. And yes, we're on pause with some clients as they kind of work out what's going on. We work a lot in the events industry, so physical events have been paused. But I'm so proud of the team, and I'm sure you are as well, James, that we've won actually a lot of work and we're doing a lot of projects in lockdown. So over the last 9 weeks, we've got 3 remote podcast series, one of which is for a company with a market capitalization of $23 billion US. Now, I can't mention some of these names, but take it from me, they're incredible wins. One virtual event aimed at attendees in North America and Brazil. That's going to be happening in June, and we'll share some bits about that after it's happened. A campaign for a large recycling organisation in the UK, a former client of ours, and they're back, which is great. We've serviced and updated over 40 websites with our online CMS, and we've helped integrate some virtual event stuff into our templates. We're recording presentations for one of the largest multinational software companies in the world. I'd love to mention their name, and I'm sure you would, James, but it's just incredible. So that's really good to be doing, as well as some various other pictures we have out at the moment, and hopefully in a video that we're going to talk to you in the next couple of weeks, we may be able to kind of shine some lights on new wins as well. But we've also got some stuff for ourselves. So we've used this period of time not only to look for work and to do the projects and service the clients that we already have, but also because we might have a breather here and there, how can we utilize our time to create some things? So we're launching a little secret online music stream, but we won't be talking about that today. But something we can talk about is an event that we're launching in June, which is called Embrace the Change. James, do you want to just kind of pick up on that and tell us a little more about what Embrace the Change is?
Yeah, so I mean, as everybody's experiencing right now, as it is a changeable time. It's in some ways quite a turbulent time. And many of these things that we're all experiencing right now, some of which are going to be temporary, but some are going to lead to probably long-lasting change. So what we wanted to do was create an opportunity to have some discussions around what those things could be, what they could mean, and kind of give people the opportunity to sort of have a more constructive and positive look, because it is difficult at this moment where you kind of not sure which way you're going, how things are gonna turn out. So it's an opportunity to have a little bit of thought leadership, have some constructive conversation, and hopefully, give some insights into where the future might lead us all.
And hopefully we can flash up on the screen now maybe some indicative graphics of logos that we've created. So the graphics can show you how vibrant and amazing this event is going to be. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, I'd like to get involved with that event, maybe you have some content or you want to be in a panel discussion, please get in touch with us. Our details really easy, hello@webvid.com, or you can give us a call. Our number is on webvid.com website, email. So you can contact us there. Right, James, let's talk about these digital trends then for this week. Where do you want to start?
I was going to start with that big old juggernaut Facebook, if that's all right.
Never heard of them. No, are they a new company?
They used to be called The Facebook. I don't know. Does that help? Right. Yeah, I mean, as we've kind of talked about between ourselves, but also on other videos of this, I think the big platforms are always looking to increase their reach and their offering, and that can be in reaction to other success things, but also just what's going on more generally worldwide. So Facebook have launched Shops, which is their first major push into e-commerce. This was announced earlier this week. So it means that businesses are going to be able to set up free storefronts on the Facebook platform. I just called it the Facebook. That's brilliant. And Instagram as well. But these will still be powered by third-party services that some companies may already be using, like Shopify or Woo or things like that. But it's designed to kind of make Facebook a top tier, I guess, shopping destination, maybe in the same way you might visit Amazon and there's stores on there and eBay. So yeah, Mark Zuckerberg gave a short kind of Facebook Live announcement about this earlier in the week, and they saw an opportunity and they've taken it. This is obviously something that they've had in the works for a while. There's been iterations of it in the past with Pages, and obviously they have things like it already on Instagram. But as we're reacting still worldwide to this COVID situation, a lot of places are shut and they're not going to be reopening anytime soon. And if they are reopening, it's going to pose a lot of challenges. So perhaps this is an opportunity for smaller businesses or restaurants or places that haven't perhaps had like a big digital footprint before to get up and running and have an opportunity to do business and reach out to audiences that they have on social that they perhaps didn't realize that they had or that they weren't engaging with before.
Well, I mean, for me, when Facebook Pages was around before, where they allowed you to put some code in, almost MySpacey, there were some things that you could do with kind of e-commerce in there, but it wasn't really the foot forward. It wasn't really integrated very well. So it has been around, but this integration now with bigger platforms like Shopify, is very interesting. I think it's really gonna boost people that have products that can be delivered digitally or can be sent out.
Yeah, so absolutely.
I'm not too sure about destinations, like especially at the moment. If it's a destination and you're selling tickets or you're doing restaurant bookings or stuff, then potentially it's okay. But we're still in that kind of, we don't know when that's going to come back. Is that going to be like the middle of next year or whatever? So I think what that really does, it fuels those companies that have physical product that can send out. So maybe your more artisan businesses, I don't know, someone that has honey or something that sends it out and that doesn't have a shop on their website, so it's really easy to integrate. That's the interesting part about it. How easy is it going to be to set up a shop and then to add the products to the shop and then to add the pricing and where that money goes? That's the bit I want to see. But I think, it's going to benefit people because of the footfall on Facebook.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a less daunting task for people if they're familiar with the social media platforms than, setting up their own website with their own store.
Absolutely. From that side of it. The integration needs to be foolproof, really. It needs to be, I want to set up a shop, click. What are my products? This, brand my shop, done. It's very interesting to see if Facebook are going to keep that payment inside, or if that is going to go out to things like PayPal and credit cards and the normal kind of merchants that deal with Shopify.
I think it's a really interesting development, though, because the chief executive of Marks and Spencer this week said that they believe that some of the trends now that we're seeing with people's shopping habits in the UK, but obviously that will be the same more or less worldwide, are going to be here to stay. Some stuff just isn't going to go back. And I think we've seen a leap quite quickly with even some of the like UK supermarkets, like Morrison's is a great example. They've just, although they have their own home delivery service, they've piggybacked on Deliveroo, Uber Eats, Amazon Prime. So you can just get some kind of essential groceries same day. It's mad, really. But I mean, why wouldn't that stay?
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting because obviously with Primark, they have no e-commerce platform online. They've gone from 600 odd million to absolutely nothing, and they're waiting to open their doors again so they can start earning revenue. It's only because the company that owns Primark owns some other businesses, which, I mean, must earn huge amounts of money per month, that they're not worrying about that situation. But I think it's a massive opportunity missed. I don't know why they're doing it. I don't know why they're not getting into the online e-commerce fight, but they could easily win it. Primark could easily win it. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a good thing for businesses, small businesses at first, digital businesses, artisan businesses, to sell product, to get it out. So, well done, Facebook. Let's have a look at how well they can implement it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you were watching this and this is something that you think is quite interesting and would be something you'd use as a business or even as a consumer, we'd be really interested to kind of hear your thoughts about that as well. So the next big thing I wanted to move on to, Neil, is something that you and I are very familiar with. It's that thing called podcasting. Do you remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, podcasting. So a big news story in the world of podcasting this week sits with Spotify, who have signed an exclusive deal with Joe Rogan, which could earn him over $100 million, which is quite insane. So Joe Rogan's podcast has been hugely successful. I mean, loads of people know who Joe Rogan is, but equally, I would say in the UK, some people would be like, I have no idea who you're talking about. But he's a massive deal. His YouTube footfall is obscene. He just gets people coming back all the time. The quality of the content's amazing. It's Spotify trying to make their own Netflix model, isn't it?
I think it's Spotify just being incredibly clever, and I think it's YouTube possibly taking their eye off the ball slightly. So Joe Rogan's podcast, Joe Rogan, a comedian, little bit of an actor, MMA show caller for UFC, massive star in the States, very well educated, talks to people just kind of how we're talking, more intelligently than us. But you know what I mean? It's just kind of like a situation where he's built this podcast up where he just talks to people, whether it's Neil deGrasse Tyson or whether it's Elon Musk, huge names. They come in and see Joe Rogan and they get huge amounts of views, and it's really cleverly done. So the whole show's on YouTube, and then lots of clips go out all over the shop and just create this massive buzz. So YouTube was the home that built that show. YouTube have now let that show go because they haven't. Well, I don't know. Did they offer him a deal? I probably not.
I mean, he's been doing it. I didn't realize until I was looking into this a bit further, but he's been doing this for over a decade.
Yeah. So he's built that up. He's gone from nothing that very early podcasts are, a bit rubbish, and you build it up, and you get a polished product like he's doing now. But Spotify want to play more in the podcast area, and they also want to launch a video podcast platform. So Spotify getting into video that way is very interesting. They've got the infrastructure. They have somewhat the footfall because you where else do you get free legal music in the amount of catalogs that it's got? That or Amazon Music, Tidal. So people are there. This, though, I think takes it to another level. So Joe Rogan's followers are in their tens of millions. They will congregate on Spotify. It will be a free podcast, so you don't have to buy Spotify or pay $9.99 or $14 a month. You can just download the free platform. Spotify, the actual deal is a licensing deal, from what I understand.
That's right.
So it has no editorial over what Joe does. He continues to do exactly the same. But I would have thought they probably do have the ability. There's a massive crane fly just going past me. They do have the ability to advertise around it and make their money that way. Joe Rogan said until the end of the year, the full show is going to be allowed on Spotify. And then after the end of the year, it's on YouTube, and Spotify only from the start of the new year, and only cut down clips will be going on YouTube. So I fear that this might be a wake-up call to YouTube to look after their creators just a little bit better and maybe implement some deals that keep that footfall coming to YouTube. If they don't, there are going to be more platforms popping up where people move across to on exclusive licensing deals. A bit like Ant and Dec in the UK are signed to ITV, or Bruce Forsyth was BBC One. So it's kind of like that. So I think it's really interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Spotify bought up some smaller US networks towards the end of last year as well. So it's been a slow thing in the making. But I mean, the smart thing about them is this would effectively, although we know it isn't, but it's effectively branding that as Spotify original content, which they will own. They don't have to run ads if you're paying for the subscription service, which is how Netflix works so well. If they can get more shows like that, and I suppose their hope is that by getting Joe onto their platform, they're going to get new subscribers, they're going to get more people listening to their podcast offering, and also people are going to be, engaging on that platform with that new content that they're looking to push out this year and going into next year. And I do wonder what Apple are going to do, because they don't seem to be doing very much. It's very quiet.
Well, I've been in on Apple Podcast Connect over the last couple of days, and it's been temporarily unavailable, and it still looks tired and a bit rubbish. I fear that they're going to lose this war big time if they do not start doing something. They don't have... they have, for a consumer-facing podcast network, a really good offering where there's search and there's a nice player on iOS. But by the way, that was my son just jumping in the spa outside.
Still jealous.
Yeah. But their infrastructure and user interface and software for podcast creators just isn't up to speed. So I think Spotify, if they continue pushing this way, will definitely attract more people and be bigger. So what's third on your list today?
Well, I had a bunch of things I could have talked about, but the one that I wanted to just bring up quickly, really, just to tie it up, because I felt like it was kind of relevant off the back of some things that we discussed in recent episodes, which is about the moving into virtual events effectively. And there's been this sort of slow drip feeding over recent weeks as this situation's continued to unfold about how big tech companies, so Microsoft and Facebook, have kind of said they're not going to do anything until the summer of 2021. And here in the UK, we've had the first university, and obviously it's a major global university, Cambridge University, have announced that they will be moving their entire curriculum into virtual lectures to replace face-to-face teachings. And they're going to also do like FaceTime calls and, group sessions like on Zoom and things like that for the next year until next summer, unless there's some drastic change here in the UK in the coming months, if something miraculously changes or there's a cure or something. And I just kind of wanted to touch on that and see what your thoughts were on that wider, because I know we've kind of talked about how we feel like that's just the way it's going to have to go, but there still seems to be some resistance, some wait and see, some maybe optimism that people aren't going to have to do these virtual events. They can stick to their plans, or their plans that they've postponed to September.
Well, firstly, it's going to, if we're a company that helps people make that transition from physical to virtual. So if it kind of sounds like I'm just trying to put the spooks on people that they have to make that transition quick, then take that away, because that's not what I'm doing. I just believe that the world is not going to get back to normal in the short term. Here in the UK, we are getting COVID cases reducing, especially in London where we are. I think that there's not been more than a certain amount, quite a low amount per day for the last 2 weeks. And that's cases, not deaths. I think a lot of clients that we deal with have booked in for Q4 of this year with physical venues, and I feel like it's going to be difficult to get their money back if they haven't got some sort of refundable deposit in place. I can't see it happening. I think Cambridge University can see what's going on. Microsoft, Facebook, all these other big players. I nearly mentioned a couple that were clients of ours then. They've held theirs back until the middle of 2021. So I think you need to make that switch to digital events as quickly as possible, and as frictionless. So, work with somebody that knows what they're doing, take the advice, keep that going, because you need some sort of revenue. With a lot of events that we deal with, the reason that people do those events, not necessarily are for ticket prices, but sponsorship and other bits and pieces. So, I just feel like people in general are going back to, or thinking they're going back to normal far quicker than they're going to go back to normal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's recognized though, isn't it? Still, and this certainly would go for what's happening with the university side of things. You're not going to have the same experience. I mean, there's no way you're going to have the university experience doing things online in that way. But in the same way as you won't have an award show or a conference in the same way, but it's still really, really effective. And there's lots of other things that you can do that are quite cool.
Sure, yeah. There's loads of things, and I think that it kind of partly goes back to what we were talking about at the start with embrace the change. There are things happening now, and you're looking at the world slightly differently, and looking at how you can service clients differently, and sponsors, and which tech can we use, and can we build something, and I think that filters through with everything. People queuing at McDonald's for an hour odd just to get a burger, just because they think it's back to normal, is ridiculous. This is not going to happen. The world is not going to get back to normal quickly. So, I mean, the thing is, I'm hoping that the person that's watching this is doing their bit to kind of stay safe and to not spread COVID-19. But I know that you and I, my family, we're all, keeping in, not going out very much. And having to work from home, which is a challenge. It's, for me, I find it slightly distracting, but that's the new normal, and we have to kind of get used to it for a bit before semi-old normal comes back in. But it's never going to be old normal completely. So I feel like changes need to be made. People need to make that switch now. Speak to some people about their events, how they're communicating with people, the way they work, and I do think there's massive opportunities, and I do think it's just the change, it's just that changing point.
And it's scary, isn't it? I mean, it's change is scary, especially if like virtual events or, doing anything in the online space isn't something that you're familiar with at all. But there's lots of opportunity to be had there. So I'd be interested to see what people think of that story, and if it's something that they're going to be doing themselves, not necessarily with the studying side, but switching stuff to online. And I think the sooner you make that decision, the easier it is to plan, the easier it is to put a strategy in place, content wise, and calendar wise, so you know what you're doing. If you just put a line in the sand and say, right, this is what we're doing, this is how we're going to go forward, rather than we'll just push it back and wait and
waste
see.
the time.
Absolutely. Well, Neil, I mean, there's a bunch of other things I could talk to you about, but I think it's enough for today. What do you reckon?
I think so. Yeah.
It's quite sunny outside. I feel like you've got a spa you need to jump into.
I don't think I can get in there at the moment, but very soon. Right, thanks, James. Thanks for watching. If you want to find out more about who WEBVID are, what we do, and look at some of our projects, including one which is for the post office, which is up for probably a virtual award this year.
I would say so, yeah.
But it's up for an animation and video award at the Want to Communicate magazine's ceremonies. Then you can find that all at webvid.com. Stay safe, and James and I will talk to you and potentially see you soon.
Maybe. Thanks for joining us.